Bienvenidos en Yaxunah. That is, welcome to Yaxunah. And here we are in the center of town. Yaxunah is a really old town. Probably, people have been living here probably pre-Columbian, because right over there, we'll visit in a minute, is the church. That's from 1817. But what makes this site really pre-Columbian, or at least knowing that people used it, was this big sinkhole in the Yucatan limestone, where the limestone fell below the water table. The water became exposed, creating what is known locally as a cenote. It's absolutely beautiful and cool and fresh, and there's a ladder to get down to the water, which makes it really perfect. You can see how clear the water is down in the cenote. And you can dive from really high up on the cliffs. So this is the cenote at Yaxunah. Even the trees get in on the action. Look at those aerial roots. So this is the church in Yaxunah, and this building is really impressive because of this. 1817. I couldn't imagine what this place looked like in 1817, but I'm going to hazard that it looked absolutely nothing like this. And to build a structure like that in 1817, well, that's probably the tallest building that's ever been built in Yaxunah, and it was built almost 200 years ago. So I think that says a lot. Now, church, even though it's Sunday, the church doesn't have much activity today. There's a Presbyterian church in town and some other Protestant churches. But where there is a lot of activity is certainly right over here. This building where all this noise is coming from, that's where the mill is. People are grinding up their corn for their masa to make tortillas. You can see the women in there doing that. Right up here on the left is the library, biblioteca, and the town hall. And the parque. Right now you're looking for a view from on top of a pre-Columbian Mayan structure in Yaxunah, Mexico, in the Yucatan state. We're about 22 kilometers from Chichen Itza, which is probably one of the most famous Mayan archaeological and tourist sites, which was just named one of the 7 wonders of the world in an unscientific online vote in 2007. But there's a lot around Chichen Itza that is also, while maybe not as grand, definitely just as impressive. And you can see the forest and the plants and all of the vegetation on either side of this structure, and you'd be really hard pressed to tell that this was built by humans. But right now I'm on top, and we're going to walk down, and you'll be able to see how this thing sort of reveals itself as you get closer to the ground. Right now we're standing a little lower. That's where I was, standing a little bit lower on the structure. I can't even say what this was used for. I'm not even going to guess. There's better resources on the internet that might have some information on that. But it is impressive. These walls are about, looks like 6 feet thick right there. That one looks like it's maybe about 3 or 4 feet thick. And then there is an interior to these. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a view with it without a light. Okay, so you get a bit of a view down on the interior that's blocked off right now with a key, but there was an interior to this structure as well. And it's visible through that little window somebody's made in the top. So coming down these stairs, the Mayan aren't very tall people, so I have a hard time imagining what we're on right now were stairs, because they're even sort of tedious for me to use. There's probably a different way of getting up to the top, or else somebody took the stairs that used to be there. So continuing to walk down the structure, looks like that used to be covered, you know, which might hint, I mean, dare I say that even looks like it might have been something like an arch, maybe a corbelled arch. Who knows? It's all guessing. Now, something a little more familiar probably. Some steps. We're going to continue walking down. And I think this front side, or I don't even know if it is the front, the side where you can see all the fancy stonework, this must have been excavated somewhat, because the other sides are also grown up with trees. It's really hard to imagine that this side had, although maybe, you know, maybe stones never grew up, or trees never grew up through those stones, because there are some trees on the side. But there's the full view of the structure that I was just standing on top of. There's a path here, so I mean, this place does get some visitors. And I don't know anything about this site, like I said earlier, so I'm not going to try to guess. This is just sort of a visual tour of what you might be able to find if you go into some Mayan villages and talk nicely with the locals and see if you can get invited to come to places like this. And this place does have road signs. I mean, this is an archaeological zone recognized by the government of Mexico, so all these structures are technically owned by the government, the federal government of Mexico, and are able to be visited by tourists. But people have their fields here as well, where they plant at, and so it's probably a good idea if you want to come or you're interested, at least talk with the town mayor or some local official who will tell you what the rules are, if you have to pay any fees to go in or anything like that. But I have a feeling that most of these places, just, you know, a simple conversation about what you'd like to see would get you in. Seems to be more structures and steps. It's a pretty big opened area. Lots of work went into this. This wasn't any small endeavor here. This was something that people spent generations building, probably. And in the distance there's the hill, or the temple, or whatever it was that we were just on. So this is just another site. There's a giant lizard. He is sunning himself. I'm about to zoom in on his head. There he is. Wow, that's neat. See, find all sorts of cool things. All right, that's it from Yaxunah.